trapped here in my room, no trace left here of you. Cold call, another person or two, seems like I'm the only one home. Aligned with the sun, shadows on everyone, no reason to run, hide out inside. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Bad taste, can't seem to get it out. Blank space where you shut my mouth. Filled yours with love to spit it out. I thought we wanted the same thing. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye, now let me try to sleep. But don't care to say goodnight. It would be a lie, another fleeting dream. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye, you never meant anything. You mean nothing to me. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Been so down since you left, can't get out of this hole. Stay safe at home, so lost and alone.
Hello, everybody. Troubling news, upsetting news dropped yesterday. We're going to be touching on that and also looking ahead to the Manchester derby tomorrow. Of course, I would have done a video on this yesterday when it was announced, but I went to a friend's concert in town yesterday, so I did not have the time to do it. So wanted to do it now. I will also probably be doing a standalone, more, effort, heavily edited video in the summer, I'm sure, as like an actual tribute for him, like cataloguing his time with City and whatnot. But I thought today we could touch on, obviously, the news, De Bruyne as a player, his legacy at City, and maybe most importantly of all, what does it mean for City going into next season? And as I say, also having a look at the Manchester derby tomorrow, trying to maybe come up with a team potentially. I'm still umming and ahhing. I don't really know what I want to have happen tomorrow against United. But as I say, we can have a chat about that over the next 60 to 90 minutes there or thereabouts. Thank you for the positive feedback on the standalone, just very brief upload that I did a few days ago. It's good to know you guys like that. That was a bit of a trial effort. Again, I would have done one yesterday for De Bruyne, but I couldn't, as I outlined. If as you're joining, please make sure to leave a like on the video. It's free, and it does help out your boy. When it was announced yesterday, I think I just opened Twitter or whatever, and I saw it. And it was one of those things where you knew it was coming, because we've been speaking about it basically all season, how this is De Bruyne's last season. We've all been, when we have been squad building, we've been under the assumption that De Bruyne is going to be leaving. There has been some thought of, mighty Sam for a 1-year extension, but it's all basically been in our heads and our minds that he's going to be leaving at the end of the season anyway. So it shouldn't have been a surprise, but it sort of is at the same time. It didn't make it any less it didn't make me feel any less upset when it happened. When I was writing out my tweet, and it was heartfelt. There was some actual emotion in there. I felt, nearly had a little tear in my eye because I was genuinely upset about the realization of what was happening. It wasn't quite like when Aguero left, and I did very, very, very nearly cry because that was sort of a bit more out of the blue. I really did think he was going to get an extension, Aguero. This one I was more umming and ahhing about. To be fair, let me know what your guys' reaction to it there was. Were you like, yeah, it was expected? Did that help at all, or was it like me where it was like, I could believe it, but it didn't really help with the hurt and with the pain. This for me is the greatest midfielder in Premier League history, by a fair margin. You know, I think that Gerrard's probably his. I mean, to be fair, David Silva's up there as well. I think most people would probably say Gerrard was his main competitor in terms of the number one spot. I think he's pretty comfortably overtook him a couple of years ago. In all honesty, a complete footballer. There's this very odd idea that he's only a 10, or even more recently, he's actually not even a midfielder. He's a second striker. That's an interesting thing that's transpired of late. People forgetting that he actually peaked as a box-to-box player for City. I think his best season was, in that 1920 season, where he was much more of, even labelled himself as more of a box-to-box player. Even in like the Centurion year, he was doing a lot of defensive work in that midfield. It wasn't exclusively Fernandinho. Like De Bruyne was contributing there. His physicality is massively underrated. And in all honesty, I think it's only Thierry Henry who's got who you can like say is like probably definitely better than him in terms of like Premier League era and whatnot. I don't think anyone really comes close to those two. I think, I said this last year as well, for me, those two sit at their own little table in terms of like Premier League brilliance, etc. I don't think anyone else really comes close. I think there is a pretty distinct tier between those two and anyone else. Some people would say he's better than Henry. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I can certainly, I could entertain an argument. I probably wouldn't agree with it ultimately, but I can certainly entertain it. Also, let me know, guys. I think LB tweeted this, and I responded to it. What's your favourite Kevin memory? Yeah, 2 questions. Favourite memory of his, and what would you say is like his most defining / best moment sort of thing? For me, it was I think you could easily have the screamer at the Bernabeu when we were 1-0 down, in the Champions League semi-final. You could even have, his ridiculous performance against Real Madrid at home. I think he got 2 assists that day, did he? For me, it's that assist against Villa to win us the league. I know, obviously, everyone talks about the Gundogan goal, but it had to be created, and it was created by Kevin in a ridiculous fashion as well. That's probably my favourite Kevin moment, because it's the moment that, again, I know people associate that with Gundogan, and rightly so, but at the end of the day, Kevin still created it. Also, the Centurion assist as well. Again, I know Jesus scored it, but it's Kevin who created it. Loads of moments there. I think my favourite assist, I was going to say the Stoke one. I was in the stadium that day. I just couldn't believe what I was watching. I couldn't believe I was watching. It was insane. But let me know what your favourite moment is. As you guys are saying that, I'm just going to catch up on the chat. Naveen says he's the greatest player in Premier League history. Yeah, Sonny, we need to go higher than top 10. Come on, man. Yeah, top 1 for sure. Hello, LD, calls me a fraud. Love you too, mate. Hello, Mr. A, fantastic player, 100%. Big loss is Kevin. Wish he could have stayed 1 more season. This was my thought process as well, Mars. Again, I know he would have had to have. The caveat would have had to have been he's on far less money, and he's obviously an impact player, a squad option, and he's happy with taking a pay cut. But I would have loved for him to have stayed for 1 more season just to help transition. If Echeverri is going to be that sort of player, to try to guide him and mentor him in a way, and have someone to learn from of that ilk, in the same way that Foden learnt from, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, etc. I would have loved Echeverri to have benefited from him as well. So it's a bit of a shame there. We're losing a lot of leaders in the summer, and a lot of age in the summer as well. I was toying with the idea of erring on the side of I wanted Kevin to sign a 1-year extension. Alas, can't have that. We desperately need to win the FA Cup now. I want him to lift a trophy as captain. That'd be great. Did he lift the Community Shield? Oh no, Walker was still the captain there at that time, wasn't he? He would have lifted it. What a shame. Big up to you, Herbal. I've had a feeling he would leave for a long time, so I'm somewhat fine with it. I think that did lessen the blow, Elder. I do totally take that. KDB was a box-to-box 15-19 era when Silva played in front of him. It will get into more of his position in a moment. But yeah, this idea that he's a second striker is just ridiculous, isn't it? Good evening to you, Dave. I'm happy that he's going this season. I can't see him improving next season. I can't see the dickheads in the fanbase not doing what they did to Walker. That's fairs. I mean, Holding, I hope he would stay. I was gutted. Good evening, Leon. Both Madrid away. Assist versus Villa for me, says Herbal. Too many to mention. Real Madrid away. Yeah, the fact that his hamstring was another good one, actually, in fairness. His goal against Arsenal that was to make it 1-0, was it, at the Etihad? It was the ball up top, Haaland, and then De Bruyne bouncing off him. You could even have like the opening goal at the Emirates that season. Once again, they were our title rivals that season. It was a must-win game in a title race. What a surprise. Kevin De Bruyne steps up and scores the goals and creates the goals, as he always does. That's another good one as well. The Let Me Talk one. His most defining moment for me is how he got our mid-ass 15-16 team to the Champions League semi-final. That's another great one. Yeah, he got us to our first Champions League semi-final. He helped get us to our first final as well. It's got to be one of the US or Saudi, hasn't it? Surely. Aside from Haysom Foden, we're going to rely on the cold guard for leadership. I don't know what that means, Archel. I'm sorry. Should have won the 2022 Ballon d'Or, says Yarrow. KDB hates Arsenal, he just always performs, doesn't he? Yeah, so loads of lovely moments. That Wolves performance where he got like 4 goals, was it? Something ridiculous. Yeah, there's loads of insane performances from Kevin. So many wonderful outside the box goals as well. I think that he was one. I can't remember if he either equaled Henry or if he was one away from Henry in terms of Premier League goals from outside the box. I tweeted about it. I can't remember because I went back and I looked at every single Kevin De Bruyne goal in his career, and the amount of goals he scored from outside the box is ridiculous. All of those goals outside the box, absolutely insane, like that Newcastle one as well. Yeah, there's so many wonderful moments, and so someone touched on like what was his position, etc., that sort of thing. And this is where I really don't like it's whenever people try to put Kevin down, and it's this idea that, again, we've touched on it, he's only 10. I don't even know what that means, or he is a second striker. Not true. Both are wrong. I always get this confused. I can't remember if it's Genk or Ghent that he played for. I think it was Genk in Belgium. He played at left wing, I'm pretty sure, for the majority of that season. He played on both wings. I think it was mainly the left. Maybe it was the right. I think it was the left, though. Becomes a Chelsea player. They immediately send him out on loan to Werder Bremen. And people, when we're talking about his Bundesliga time, they only talk about the Wolfsburg situation. And it's, of course, right to talk about the Wolfsburg situation. But they sort of forget that he went to Werder Bremen and won Young Player of the Year. Werder Bremen, who were shit that season, by the way. Like, he wasn't at this... They weren't even mid-table. They were going to get relegated. I think that he directly contributed to a quarter of their league goals that season. I think it was a quarter, whether it was like a goal or a direct assist. So he literally saved them from relegation, Werder Bremen. So this idea that, but could De Bruyne perform in an objectively bad team? He saved the side from getting relegated. And that was when he was young enough to win Young Player of the Year. So we don't even need to entertain that bizarre hypothetical. Goes back to Chelsea. And the Chelsea one was always weird to me because I remember at the time, because I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch Kevin De Bruyne at Werder Bremen, back in the day. But I did watch him at Chelsea in that second stint, when he came back after Werder Bremen. And whenever I watched him, I thought he looked good. So I was very surprised that it just didn't work out or that he wasn't used that much at Chelsea. And then he went to Wolfsburg. And the rest is history therein. Can't emphasize this enough. In an era when it was Klopp's Dortmund, who were on the decline, but it was Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich as well, Kevin De Bruyne was the best player in the league. He was the best player in the league. He broke the Bundesliga assist record that season. He got Wolfsburg to second place in the table, not too far off Pep Guardiola's Bayern as well. Again, this is a Bayern side with ridiculous quality and ridiculous players and a ridiculous manager. And before Kevin joined Wolfsburg, Wolfsburg had won one trophy in their entire history. Shout out Dzeko. That was the Bundesliga title 2009, 2008, 2009, there or thereabouts. They'd only won one trophy. So again, this is Wolfsburg. We're not talking about Dortmund or Bayern Munich or I don't know. We're talking about bloody Wolfsburg. Yeah. Wins them the DFB Pokal. Wins them the German Super Cup. So he has tripled Wolfsburg's trophy haul in the space of 1.5 seasons. He scored the winning goal, I think it was in the DFB Pokal, and he assisted the winning goal, or maybe assisted the equaliser, which went to penalties in the Super Cup. I can't remember. It's one of them. He definitely got a goal and an assist in one of them. I can't remember. And I think that the DFB Pokal was against Klopp's Dortmund, maybe, and the Super Cup was against Pep's Bayern. So again, we're not talking about some shit teams that he was dunking on in the Bundesliga. And he had ridiculous performances against Pep's Bayern when he was in those league games as well. Again, I think he got a couple goals and assists across those whenever he played them, it seems. So he was always performing. And at Wolfsburg, sometimes he was playing at right wing. Sometimes he was obviously playing in the more attacking midfield position as well. One Player of the Year, broke the assist record. So we need to really push back when people try to say, oh, but could he do it at a worse side? Well, he did it at Genk, and he did it. And by the way, I didn't even really touch on Genk that much. Genk are not fucking. What are the best teams in bloody. Genk are not Bruges, you know. Genk are bloody Genk. I think before. De Bruyne won that title with them, they'd hardly won any titles in their history, or if they hadn't won for many a year. It wasn't like they were this elite side dominating Belgium. It was bloody Genk. So we did it there. Wolfsburg again. Werder Bremen, sorry. And then Wolfsburg. In different positions, you'll notice, as I say, whether it was on the left, whether it was on the right, whether it was in more attacking midfield. Turning up in crucial moments, in massive games, in cup finals, whatever. And moving to Manchester City, obviously. Under Pellegrini, I think someone touched on it earlier, in a very poor, underperforming Manchester City side, given the level of quality they're in. Considering there was still David Silva, there was still Aguero, there was still company. It was an underperforming City side, and even Fernandinho, Pellegrini, as much as I liked him, was probably not the best manager. What did he do at City? Again, in his early City career, he started out on that right wing. I think that we played a front four of, I think, Kevin, David Silva, Sterling, Aguero quite a lot that season, or tried to anyway, but for injuries. And he was on for a brilliant first season. Then he got injured against Everton in a cup game, I think. I was very frustrated because I think their goalkeeper tried to pick him up after he got injured. That was annoying. He was actually injured. I think he missed the rest of the season. And yeah, and the rest is history. And that was, 10 years ago? He has been the face of the Premier League for the past 10 years. He's been its best player. Not necessarily every single season, but across that whole period he has been. And I think most importantly, Man City have been the best team in that, over the past decade, obviously, as well in the Premier League in England. And he's been the best player for the best team in the Premier League. And in my view, also just wider Premier League history. This is the player that we are talking about. This is an all-timer right here. He doesn't really have an equal. He doesn't really have a peer. He is just, in terms of like Premier League era as a midfielder, he is just on his own. Broke the assist record, and then they took one away from him for whatever reason. In a year where City were not that good. He's played out on the right. He's sometimes played out on the left. He's played in the box-to-box role as an 8. He has played as an attacking midfielder. He has played as a second striker. He has played as a false 9. Not that well, in my view, but he still did a decent job at it. I think even on a couple instances, he played as an out-and-out striker a couple of times, when we didn't have a striker a couple of times. So incredibly versatile. He's just unbelievable ball carrier. Underrated ball carrier, maybe the best ball carrier in transition, maybe only bettered by like, a Yaya Toure type of player. Ridiculous physicality there. And the passing is, need I say more? The passing is, and the playmaking is only like bettered by like Messi. That's the standard. That's who he's chatting to. Yeah, that's who he's chatting to. It probably is the right time for him to move on. In fact, can you guys let me know now? Yes, move on, or no, extend. What would you have preferred to have happened this summer? And if he was to extend, let's say he would take a massive pay cut and he would just be playing every now and then and, 30 minutes of games. Let's say, he like slashes his pay to 100k. Let's make it fair. Let's make it more reasonable because you can't keep him on 400k. So if you did want to extend, that's the caveat. So what do you think? Should he have stayed and extended, or is it right for him to go? Let me know what you guys think. I don't think there's an incorrect answer here. Maybe it's sentiment talking. I just would have liked him to have stayed one more year. Again, I'm mainly thinking of Echeverry's transition, but I understand why it probably is the time to move on. I can accept that, to be fair. That's probably the right call, isn't it? It's probably the right call. His goal with his left foot outside the box against Leicester. KDB most assists in a season with 20 with Omri, and again, they robbed him of one of those. People forget how De Bruyne used to pick up the ball from the halfway line, drive past place, and then score or assist exactly Blue Lock. That's a good point, Cold Train. Probably not. Only Henry is better. KDB in Prem history. I think I agree with that, Dave. Move on, says Blue Lock. Move on, but retiring during the staff, I'd love him to come back, Alan. Move on, says Darsh. His defensive ability is criminally underrated. Yeah, it's just silly. It is silly that people, again, have it in their head that he's only a 10, again, whatever that means. He peaked as this complete midfielder. That's what he peaked as, and that did involve some defensive work and pressing as well. Is that the same as playing as the defensive midfielder? No. But you don't need to be, bloody Fernandinho or Makaleli to be regarded as a midfielder who can defend well. So it's, extend. I've got a couple more extends than I thought, in fairness. It's best to move on, says Ritesh. Obviously move on, only stay feet have taken a pay cut. Yes. Oh, there you go. Extend. Move on, hate to see his decline. As a football fan, I wanted De Bruyne to stay for another year, but as a man, I'm glad De Bruyne's moved on from City and looked at himself in the mirror and said he's not good enough. Yeah, and I wonder where he'll go. Surely it's going to be, because he could go to Saudi Arabia and get like as much money as he wants. I'm sure he could go to the US and get as much money as he wanted. It's probably going to be one of those things. Again, I would have liked to have seen him stay a year, but I can understand the argument. Are there any other myths I want to bust about Kevin? Oh yeah, this idea that like he doesn't turn up in finals, that's happened somewhere. Right. Now he literally, his hamstring, it no longer exists because he sacrificed it to win us the treble, to get us to win us the FA Cup, to win us the league title, to get us into the FA Cup final. Those two performances against Real Madrid were mental. So I can't believe that people try to use the fact that his hamstring literally fell off in Istanbul as like a slight against him. He actually created a decent chance before he went off the pitch as well, by the way. I will say that much as well. So I can't believe that's being used against him. Without him, we would not have gotten there. Was he good against Chelsea in the FA Cup final? In the Champions League final? No, not particularly. Again, sadly got injured that day. I don't think anyone was for City. We all know the weird lineup and probably also the mentality situation from those City players. They clearly weren't ready. They couldn't deal with the occasion. I think that was a thing as well. Perhaps. But he played well. He's played well in League Cup finals, in FA Cup finals. We've talked about the DFB Pokal. We've talked about the German Super Cup as well. People use that as sort of like a little isolated thing and go, oh, well, that happened, therefore he's not good in big games. And again, I've never quite understood that. Cold Life Uzi's just said that. Yes, I'm now going to touch on the Belgium situation. This very odd idea. Again, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where it comes from. By the way, guys, please make sure you leave a like on the video. It's free, it does really help. this really odd idea that De Bruyne was bad for Belgium in his, on the international stage, in like whether it's a Euros or whether it's a World Cup. First of all, I think he's got like is it the record or the joint record, or he's like in the top 3 or whatever for international assists? There's some mental stat about the amount of assists he's got for Belgium, first and foremost. But secondly, let's just break this down. The reason why people use that is because, yes, Belgium were very bad at Euro 2016 when they got knocked out by Wales. They were very bad, in fairness. Belgium were also very bad at the most recent World Cup. Was it the Euros? Well, both, to be fair. But the World Cup one is the main one, because they still had some of their golden generation there. It's a bit of a different side now. I will accept that the 2016 Euros was not good. Again, no one was good for that Belgium side. The 2022 World Cup is a bit of a different story, because he wasn't good against, I think it was Morocco, wasn't it? He wasn't good. No one was good that day against Morocco. They beat Canada, whatever. The final group stage game was against Croatia. Now, Croatia got to the semi-finals. Pretty sure that's right. They got to the semi-finals. Yeah, they did, because then Argentina beat them, didn't they? So it was, if Belgium beat Croatia, then it would have been Belgium going through rather than Croatia. So all they had to do was beat Croatia. And Kevin De Bruyne that day could have had 3 assists. It was mental, the amount of bottling that was going on around it. Like, Mertens, I have no idea what's going on. Lukaku missing at least 2 or 3 sitters. It was insane. It was maddening. He was fantastic that day against Croatia. And had his team just put the ball in the back of the net, had they finished the chances he was creating, then it wouldn't have been a problem and it wouldn't have been an issue. So I'm not even going to hold that against De Bruyne. All the other tournaments he's been very good at. Was it the 2014 World Cup? He was fantastic in the knockouts up until the game they got knocked out by. Who did they get knocked out by? I think it was it Germany? Can't recall. Anyway, was it the quarters? Oh, okay, yeah, was it quarters first? Oh yeah, was it the Netherlands in the semis? I don't know. Anyway, you take the point. He was really good in those games. He scored the winner against the USA, which was a must-win game, I'm pretty sure, if memory serves. He was just good in that tournament overall. 2016 Euros I've touched on. 2021 Euros was also very good. They got beaten by Italy, who went on to win the whole competition, and Belgium were a lot better than Italy that day. In my view, they were probably the best team in the entire tournament. And the main one was 2018. Again, this is one, because that was the peak of that Belgian golden generation, wasn't it? That was when they should have won the tournament. And they should have done, because, again, they were better than France in that tournament. I know France beat them on the day. I don't care. Belgium was still the better side of that tournament. I'm not interested in an isolated one-off match. And it's such a shame, that performance against Brazil, I think someone's already touched on, was mental. Obviously, they battered us. I mean, everyone does, it seems, but they did it as well. And had they had an easier run to the final, then they almost definitely would have made the final. Once again, they got beaten by the team who ultimately won it. People like to big up Croatia's tournaments that in that World Cup, and that's absolutely fine. I guarantee you, if Croatia had to try to take on Belgium or Brazil or France, there's no way they would have reached the final. So yeah. I don't like this. Yeah, it is a myth. It is literally a myth, this idea that he doesn't turn up for Belgium. I just don't... Where does that come from? Where does that come from? That's a very good point as well, Coltrane. Belgium horrendously mismanaged by Roberto Martinez. Still can't believe to this day he was ever given the keys. Horrendously mismanaged and misused, and still performed for Belgium. It's just this really weird, false narrative that he doesn't play well for Belgium when he clearly has done. Very odd. Yeah, weird. Again, that 2018 World Cup, I'm sorry. People love to big up Hazard for that tournament. I think Kevin was better. I think he was better. He's 5 to 7 behind, can catch up if Belgium can finish, says Amin, indeed. Smian, sadly, some people want to do it. Some people want to do it. It's a shame. I want to wait for him to actually get some minutes. We'll see. If he doesn't, in like the next match or so, I'll just drop it because it is getting a bit frustrating. To this day, De Bruyne is synonymous with the assist. That is his legacy, says Smian. Yes, definitely. That is literally him on a plate, isn't it? He is the passer. He puts it on a plate, and that's a pun. So that's the player that he was. And by the way, in case that wasn't clear, because I know like someone, I think it was Zubair at the start of the show said, "Why have you put the king is dead, but long live the king?" That's a phrase. I believe it's derived from a French saying. The king is dead, long live the king. Typically means one king has passed away. Now we need to crown another one immediately after. I've used it as the king is dead, i.e. Kevin De Bruyne is leaving Manchester City. Long live the king. His legacy will live on forever because he's the best midfielder in Premier League history. And let's be honest, he's almost definitely is the greatest player in City's history. He must get a trophy. He must get a trophy. He must get a statue. I'd love to name a stand after him. I think that would be a nice touch as well. I think he's deserved that. I want more stands to be named after like players. Like we've only got the Colin Bell stand, and maybe that's the biggest compliment of them all. When I interviewed Tommy Booth, if you don't know who he was, City legend from the 60s and 70s, won every single trophy in our golden era. Very nice man. Interviewed him for the Colin Bell documentary, and when I asked him, it's from Lion King, shush. And when I asked him, who would you, and he played with Colin Bell like 500 times or something. He knows who he was, and again, lots of people regard Colin Bell as City's greatest ever player. Certainly, if you're from that era, that's what most people will say. And I said, if you had to, I know it's hard in a different era, but if you had to liken him to a modern City player, who would you pick? And and Tommy Booth said probably Kevin De Bruyne. They're not identical in terms of their play. Again, Colin Bell was much more of like an industrious player, but they were still, complete midfielders, as I say, box to box at their peak. And it's a fact that that era's greatest player, the player who's got a stand named after them, is being likened to Kevin De Bruyne. And again, Colin was a king of the Kippax. We got King Kevin, so they're both kings. It makes sense for that comparison to be a thing. I'd like a stand to be named after him, and again, a statue is a must. This now leads us into, I guess, the future, and we will get onto the Manchester derby thereafter. Now that we definitely know it's locked in that Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. What does that mean for City from a squad perspective? What does it mean from a potential heir replacement perspective? I do not know the answer to that question. I'm putting it out there into the ether. It's not an original question, I know. But help me out, guys. Lots of people are saying that we just need to sign, Wirtz. I'm not as big on Wirtz as everyone else, I think. I think he's a good player. I think people are going to be very disappointed if he did join City, because I think that people think that he's not... Sorry, I think people think he is something that he is not, if that makes sense. That's not to take away from him as a player. I think some people think that Wirtz is a type of player, and I just don't think that he is that type of player. That's not a dig. You get me? I've got the tactics board out just in case, yeah. I want to include that playing Lukaku can curse any team. Another one's the whole Prime Urso. Yeah, that I saw that. Was it TalkSport or something? Yeah, that you literally might as well be comparing lobster paella that's just been killed 30 minutes ago to a steaming hunk of shit. That is genuinely a closer comparison. That is a closer comparison between those two. Yeah? Fucking Prime Urzel. You can't spell Urzel's name without tacking Prime at the fucking start of it. And even if you did only exist in that Prime world, it's still not even close. De Bruyne now? Fucking hell. It's from Lion King, yeah, shut up. Wirtz wears the number 17 for the Germany national team. Yeah, I'm not being funny. I want that. Retire that number as well. Retire that shit. We've only got one retired number in our history. It's not like 17 is this, unless I'm mistaken, it's not like it's this iconic number anyway. Just to retire it in his honor. I would love to see. I feel like we need a statue's not enough for me. I need a big statement for King Kevin. Yeah, I need a big statement for our greatest ever player. KBP in his peak, putting up 33 GAs in midfield in the Prem 4 key pass the game. No midfielder's ever done that. Yeah, and he's generational. No midfielder ever will do that, or player will ever do that. This is what I'm saying. There is no way to actually replace him. No one to replace him, to be honest with you. Indeed, Leon, absolutely. KDB will prefer a statue. Give him both. Give him both, Pat, yeah? Give him both. Wirtz, Bayern are all phenomenal, but KDB is genuinely irreplaceable. No midfielder has ever and will ever replace his creative output. We need someone like Zidane. With Aguero, he too is irreplaceable, but there's always be players matching his goal scoring. Yes, it's hard, isn't it? Wirtz, Foden, Musiala, too many similarities. IMO. Bayern brings something different to the 10. Played the left wing this season, but the amount of chances is unreal. On his day, Pogba, yeah, he can't. Yeah, you can't. It's like, no one says Vardy. Everyone says Jamie Vardy. It's like Pogba. No one says Pogba. You say on his day, Pogba. We need a generational talent, says Amin. Within football, your main creative outlet doesn't have to be a central player. Look at the Liverpool side, which pushed us to make titles. I have said that, to be fair, now, I offer this as a thought experiment. I didn't necessarily agree with what I was saying. It was mainly as I say, it was a thought experiment and it was a devil's advocate situation. But I was suggesting that you don't necessarily need to try to find a like. I mean, you're not going to find a like for like, but you don't need to try to go for necessarily a like for like high volume passing central midfielder. It's not necessarily what you have to do. I'm not saying that it would be a mistake to not do that or to do that. But I am saying that, as this comment rightly says, in Liverpool's best iteration, their chief creators were Trent and Robertson. There is a world where, Savio, Doku, Bob, when he comes back, maybe another wide player, maybe technically Marmouche. There's a world where that is our, chief source of creativity. And of course, you still have creativity elsewhere, but in a different format. Again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that could be a thing, maybe. We don't necessarily have to get this mold of play. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case. There are options elsewhere. So what I'm trying to say is it's not this player or bust. Do you see what I mean? It's not this player or it's if we don't get this player, it's the end of the world. There is still a world where it happens. You get me? My view is Cherky's a proper De Bruyne type player, but problem is the work rate and the behavior. Be very interested to see where he goes. I'd be very surprised if I've just got the vibe that a massive team are not going to go for him. Like City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Barca, Bayern, etc. I just don't think he'd go to that sort of. I don't know really why I think that. I don't really know. I like the concept of him, but yeah. Yeah, retire that number. Retire it. I want justice for not retiring 21. I want justice for, us bottling against Lyon in his final Champions League game with City. Pissing me off. How many give me the ball players are we losing in football? Prime was invented for Hazard. Brilliant. Thing is, no one can be KDB. Nobody's even relatively close to him. Nobody can talk to him. Yeah, I agree. If he does get a stand named after him, it should be the East Stand Artugrits. Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that. And name the stadium after Pep. Come on. On his day, Ben Arfa could be the one for us. Yeah, again, I'm hearing a lot of good things about him, but he's 3 years old. and Echeverry's a toddler as well. And Bob is 22, is he? I don't hate the idea of seeing what they can do, but it's not you know what I mean. It's not an ideal situation. It's not an ideal environment to bring him into. Again, it would have been a nice situation had De Bruyne extended. Maybe you can transition the youngsters a bit more easily. I'm hearing lots of good things about Mukasa. I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't watch the I don't really watch the academy anymore. I used to watch them back in the day. Don't really watch them anymore. Maybe I should try to find time. It's just tricky, isn't it? We're getting a number 10, but it won't be anything like Kevin, says Jewel. Hello, Terrell. Dortmund are very close to getting... He stinks of a Dortmund player. Yeah, he stinks of Dortmund. 100%. Yeah, invest in him. Mixon needs to calm down a bit, says Fires. He's trying too hard. We can't wait for potential, says Amin. Nobody can talk to De Bruyne, but nobody will allow De Bruyne to talk, therefore nobody will talk. Yeah, Fairs. Was David Silva right to stop him from talking? He may have got booked, and then that's a silly booking, so probably, yeah. Probably. He's double-digit goals and assists. He is insane. And what's his position? Is he like is he a pure 10 situation? Is he like sort of... Is he like another Echeverry in a way? Is he like, that sort of pure traditional 10 player who likes to dribble but also to create via the pass? Is that what we're talking about? Let me know. What's my problem with Wirtz? So I don't actually have a problem with Wirtz. No, I wasn't going to name drop them. Never mind. I said I wouldn't drop it. I've been speaking to someone who I agree with quite a lot of things in the football world. And I think I've touched on this before, maybe, on this channel. I think I have. This isn't about having a problem with the player, because I think he is a very good player. The issue is that people are talking about him within the vein of, what does City need in De Bruyne's absence? We need this high-volume passing creator. That's what people are saying. And over long distances as well. That's what people are saying about him. Or rather, what City need. And I accept that that's probably what City need. Certainly based on this season, and I don't claim to be the biggest Leverkusen watcher, but I feel like I have watched enough. Again, I did scout them to, I watch a lot of Leverkusen to scout Palacios, for example, so I do feel like I know how the team's set up overall. And indeed, just how he plays and such. That's not really what he has been this season. Even if you someone did like a comp or whatever of him, like yesterday, saying, and this is the De Bruyne replacement, yeah? Thought, it's the body's not even cold yet, first of all. Let's chill on that. But this compilation was basically, it was very good by Wirtz. Obvious, it was very nice. But I was seeing a lot of not Kevin in those actions. I was seeing a lot of dribbling, and I was seeing a lot of chance creation and assist work, which is very nice, but not in the same areas as De Bruyne creates from. A lot of it was far closer to goal, and a lot of it was in sort of like smaller areas of space, rather than, again, where De Bruyne tends to operate, which is more heavily outside of an opponent's block. So people will point to, the very impressive expected assist numbers, and they are very impressive. I think Wirtz is the second highest in the Bundesliga this season, I think. Can't recall exactly. I think it's something like that. And that's great. But there is a big difference between that in isolation and that in context. That is my only concern. That if we did sign him, and I don't even think we're going to sign him based on the fact that Bayern probably wants him and the fact he might even stay at Leverkusen, that would be my biggest concern, that people think that he is a De Bruyne, a true as you can De Bruyne replacement. I'm not convinced that that's accurate. Now, that's not to say that we sign him and he's brilliant and he's just used in a different way. That's not to say that. That's absolutely fine. But I think that expectations need to be tempered, is all I would say, in terms of what he is as a player and in respect of his skill set as things stand. So that's my problem with Wirtz. It's not really a problem, it's just more of a concern depending on context. That's all I'm saying to that. I'm not saying we shouldn't sign him. I'm just saying that I'm not as big on him as a De Bruyne replacement as a lot of other people are. And if you want to be big on him, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to say I'm not going to say he would be a bad signing, but I just don't think that he as a player, even that position, even with De Bruyne leaving, is the number one priority this summer. I still think that a right back is the number one priority position, and I probably think that still getting another all-round midfielder is probably more important, to be honest with you. I would then look to that position. Maybe that should change to the second highest priority position in De Bruyne's absence. I don't know. Bayern is another one. I can more see the vision there in terms of a quotes like for like or whatever. Again, it's not ideal. This is not a very extensive market. There's not many great opportunities here from this position that we're talking about. Those are my thoughts. Those are my concerns. And it's fine to have concerns. There is no perfect player out there. It's all good. And PS says I'm overcomplicating it. And maybe I am. I'm just trying to get it out there that this is not... I don't want these City fans who say that we should get Wirtz to replace De Bruyne to be shocked when if we did sign him and when he does come into the side and they just plays nothing like him. That's all I want to get across. The people just need to temper their expectations if they think there's going to be a direct situation, because there just isn't going to be one. We've got over 100 people watching, which is lovely. Let's get to 100 likes, guys. Come on. Get up here. We've been chatting for 50 minutes about Kevin and potential replacements. Let's spend another few minutes on this, and then let's have a look ahead to the derby tomorrow. There will be a watch-along tomorrow, and there will be a post-mortem no matter what. I tried to get Gasky, my Man United fan friend, on, but he's busy. He's recently moved into a new house, and he's still getting his stuff ready and whatnot, so he's still not ready to do the shows together with me again. And last season, if you were here, he was, or was it the season before? Can't remember. He was here. He was here with that infamous Bruno Fernandes ghost goal, yeah? And even he didn't celebrate because he knew it was a bullshit goal. He didn't want to dishonor me by celebrating that goal in front of me. It's a shame he can't join, but he can't join, I'm afraid. So it will just be me solo, I'm afraid. I do like it when he's on because he's my friend. Don't feel Wirtz is great value for money, says if this is another potential concern for me, just before we move on from the Wirtz situation, just because if, again, I don't know, let's say we can spend gross 250 million. I don't know the number. 300 million. Don't bloody know. I suspect that Wirtz is going to cost around 150. Now, whether there's 10 or 20 million in it, whatever, it's going to be a lot of money, isn't it? Wouldn't surprise me if it was this British record amount, around, maybe 150-ish. I don't know. So even if I'm going on the upper end and saying, well, we're going to have 300 million gross to spend, that's half the budget. I don't know if I'm happy with that personally. I don't know if I'm happy with that as a concept to invest it all there, especially when we've already got a potential 10 there in Echeverry as well. Would it be more interesting to trust him? I don't know. Maybe that's too wishful thinking. I don't know. The jury's out for me. That's what I'm trying to say. This is why I said I don't know. I'm not going to say we should definitely get him or we should definitely not get him. I'm sorry to sit on the fence, but I genuinely do not know. Ideal window for me, Wirtz, Belabor. Oh, Belabor. If I had 150 million to spend on a player, I'd rather spend it on Belabor. I'd spend it on Belabor before I spend it on Wirtz. That is what I will say, and I'm going to stick with that. I will stick with that. Give me Cambiasso as well. Why not? He's fun. Nitin, he did also win it for City. Like, if he was shit for City, he wouldn't have won the Ballon d'Or. He was also our second best player. Some people say first. I disagree, but he was still very good in the Premier League, and he was still a top 3 player in the Premier League that season. So, you know, the Euros pushed him over the edge, but it was, as Ichigo says, it was for both. He was still a top 3 player that season. You know, maybe even top 2. Would I say top 2? Yeah, he was a top 2 player. Who, apart from Foden, who was better than him? I can't think. Unless I'm misremembering. Guess you could argue Rice, Basmati. Even then, you know, that's a thing. We're talking about it's minimum top 3. It is a minimum top 3. Some people would say top 2. I would. Some people might say top 1. Ichigo does. Either way, we're talking about a very good club performance, and certainly we were even talking about it at the time. What if Spain win the Euros? Could Rodri win the Ballon d'Or? That was a thing being said because he was in the conversation. So it was for both. Yes, Archer, yes. Belabor, Rodri, do a pivot. That's what I'm saying, man. Throw in Nico, Gonzalez, and have like the most robust midfield in the universe. Yeah? That'd be naughty. You know, for like, do you remember that period when we had like Fernandinho and Fernando and Yaya Toure, and everyone was like, oh, on big Champions League away nights, they could play those 3 midfielders all together. I don't even know if we ever did. But we could do that. You know, we could run that back. Oh, dear. He would have never won, I think that means Ballon d'Or, if Spain didn't win Euros. Right, Nitin, but if he was shit for City, he also wouldn't have won the Ballon d'Or. Or do you actually dispute that? I don't really know what point you're trying to make here, Sunshine. What's going on? What's going on? It's for both. If he was stinky for his club, and he won the Euros, because let's be honest, he was not the best player for Spain. I thought Yamal was probably Spain's best player. He won the Ballon d'Or because when you aggregate his City performances, he was a top 2 City player, or a top 3 let's say top 3 Premier League player, whatever. And his performances for Spain, where he was not the best, but certainly one of the best, you add it all together, you end up with the Ballon d'Or. It's both. Wirtz is a really good player, but he's not even better than Wolfsburg KDB when we signed him, so don't expect too much or else you'll be disappointed. Yeah. I don't think so, Ashfaq, but I can see the point of view. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. I can understand it. I just don't agree with it. But I get it. He was certainly our most important player that season, no doubt about it. I just made a distinction between the two, that's all. What were we talking about? Were we talking about Man United, or were we still talking about something else? Let's touch on United, because we have been live for nearly an hour. Excuse me. In sum, I don't know what the solution is. Kevin leaving. I know I want a right back. And I know I want a more all-round midfielder. Minimum, we need that. We will probably need We should probably do another squad rebuild stream. We did one a few months ago, but now that we've brought in those players, because we did that before we signed any players in the January transfer window, I believe. That's a very good video, by the way. Go back and watch it. I reckon we should do another squad rebuild stream, maybe next week, where now we know for a fact these are the players we brought in Jan. These are the players we currently have on loan. This player is definitely going. That player is definitely going. We can have a better view of like what do we actually need in terms of the position. So maybe we'll do it. Let me know if you want us to do that next week. I'm sure I can arrange that, and I probably will do it anyway. If you guys say no, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Man United. The game. The derby. It is imperative that we win tomorrow. Anything other than a win is not good enough. Definitely Wolfsburg, KDB fact checker. Definitely. Anything other than a win is not good enough for a myriad of reasons. In the first instance, United are fucking shit. They are dog shit. Okay? And I don't care if they beat us tomorrow. That does not change the fact, and I know they beat us earlier in the season. It does not change the fact that they are dog shit this season. Okay? Oh, Villa beat Forest in the end. Is that good or bad? Oh, sorry, I'm just being sidetracked here. Is that good or bad? Well, it's good if we win because then we're only 3 points off Forest. What's Forest? Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. What's Forest's running? Away against Spurs. Yeah. Home against Brentford. Oh, they've got quite an easy run in. Oh, I'm just worried about Villa overtaking us now. It's good if we think that we can overtake Forest. It's bad if we don't think we can overtake Forest, basically. It gives us more of a chance to overtake Forest if we win tomorrow with 3 points behind them. But their running is actually quite favourable. They played Chelsea on the last day of the season, which is good for us as well. Yeah, they've got some easy games, man. Home against Everton, away against Spurs, home against Brentford, away against Palace, home against Leicester, away against West Ham, home against Chelsea. That's easy, man. Fuck. Fuck. Anyway, yes. Back to United. They're dog shit. They are 13th in the table. You know, they are 2 points ahead of Everton. You know, who were relegation threatened earlier this season. That's the team we're talking about. What's their form like? The form's actually, oh wow, the form's actually a lot better than I thought it was. Wow, I might need to take this back. They only lost 1-0 against Forest. I didn't realise it was this good. I might be misremembering. Win, draw, win, draw, and then lose against Spurs, but then win, and then lose in the FA Cup, but then win. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was. Okay, right, well, that's a bit upsetting. But either way, they're still dog shit. We need to beat them because they're dog shit. We need to beat them because they embarrassed us at the Etihad when we capitulated and threw it away. Not over that. Not forgiving that. I don't forgive and I don't forget. That pissed me off. That just should have been the most basic, you know, play not that good, but get the 1-0 win anyway. And we desperately need it because Chelsea are a point ahead of us. Newcastle are 1 point behind us with a game in hand. So we absolutely need to win. I do not know what we do tomorrow, guys. I'm going to get the lineup out, or the tactics board out, whatever the term is. This isn't the right camera. Hello? What's going on here? 1 second, guys. Why has that happened? Hello? Hello? Why has my keyboard died? Hello? Oh my god, it's because I updated. It's because I updated and I didn't sort out the thing. Is that why? Yeah, okay, fairs. No, that's a blur. I want you to remove it, mate. Yeah, that's class. There we go. Okay, good. I figured it out, guys. I figured it out. I am a streamer. Yeah? I am a YouTuber. I know how my own technology works. Yeah, I do the bare minimum. Anyway. I do not know how we set up. This is not how I think we're good. This is not how I want us to set up. This was the team against Bournemouth. It's also not in the right shape. This is how I thought we were going to set up. It's ultimately not what we did. This was the lineup against Bournemouth. Now, I don't know what to do, guys. Because I really do think that Foden should probably start because he didn't see a minute against Leicester. That tells me that he's probably going to start. He always plays well against United. Well, more often than not. And I touched on it in that standalone video, and I know people went, oh, this video's aged well. It's like, okay, guys, I didn't realize we did outcome bias over here, but whatever. And I know that, Grealish scored, and that was lovely against Leicester, but in the absence of this lad, we are still... There is still a big question mark of where are the goals coming from? Who can you, bank on, or... who is most likely going to score the goals. I touched on it in that video. Without Haaland, our best goal scorer is Foden, followed by Marmoush, and then it's Gvardiol. And that should tell you everything you need to know. That our other attackers just don't score goals. Essentially. Then it's Kovacic on 4. And then I think it's... And then I think it's Doku on 3. And then it's... everyone else is on 2. So in terms of... I've also realised this. I say in terms of about a million times a second. So we know that Marmoush is obviously going to start because... in Haaland's absence, he simply has to. That's obviously a thing. That's fine. And then where else are goals coming from? I accept the fact that Grealish got a goal against Leicester, and that's lovely, but that does not change the fact that he's not a goal scorer, nor does he have a track record of scoring goals, nor does he have a track record of taking shots. So if we were to construct a side, and let's say, for example, let's just do it out of possession just for a moment. So let's say that it would be that. So let's get Nico in the team. Savio, let's make it. And then, well, this was the team that played. Well, I've got one player too many here. Who. I don't think did Gundo start against Leicester? I feel like he did. Maybe it was Kova who didn't start. So if you got something like this, yeah, or whatever. I know Nico didn't start, but just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. If this is the team, where are the goals? I'm not being funny, but where are the goals coming from? Obviously, Grealish scored against Leicester. But that was his first goal since December 2023. If he scores tomorrow, I'd be ecstatic. And I'd be very, very happy. Obviously, I would. I just don't see where, outside of Marmoush, how are we going to score the goals? Savio has a goal this season. He's been very good at creating them, obviously. He doesn't really score them, though. He's got one. And Ichigo says Marmoush hat-trick. So unless we are banking on Marmoush to score all the goals tomorrow, or, like a defender to come up with the goods, I just struggle. And I'm not saying that we can't score with this team. I'm not saying that at all. But I feel like with football, we're talking about, it's a game of probabilities. And it's about which players are more likely to take shots, which players are more likely to score goals, which players have track records of doing this. You guys want to run? I don't mind that. So what, you want to drop... Well, did someone say Kusanov is injured? Is that actually proven? Proven? Is that confirmed? Well, I don't know why I said proven, like we're on trial here. Is this factual information, as LB would say? Is this objectively correct, as Nobbins would say? Is Kusanov out? If so, that's an L. Wait, Gvardiol's out. Wait, what? Have I missed something? I thought it was Kusanov that you guys were saying was out. Can you guys confirm? Was he on the bench? I don't think he was on the bench against Leicester, though, was he? He might be out injured. If he is, then we can do that little cute thing. You get me? No, we can't do that. Yes, we can. There you go. I guess we can do that in terms of the back four. That's not terrible. Nunes is probably going to start, isn't he? It probably makes sense to keep starting him at right back. Yeah, so if Gusanov isn't available, then the next best option is to do that. Oh, sorry, saying Cavardo can shoot. All right. Again, he can, but he's a defender. If I'm playing like the probabilities game, if we're sort of like trying to construct a general team from now until the end of the season, or indeed just tomorrow, I don't know if I want to bank on Yoshko being the one to score a goal for us. Even Kevin, who I love, you know, he's only got, I think, 2 goals this season that he scored. Oh, excuse me. So I'm at 6s and 7s, and I don't really know what to do. I think it would be a mistake to start Grealish. Guys, listen to Baby Nobbins. Like the video. Yeah? I think it would be a mistake to start a Grealish on the back of a good performance against the second worst team in the league at home. He hardly started before then. I think there's a reason for that. I proved it with a 95% reliability interval. Kusanov is injured. Right, okay, well, let's say he is then. Again, if this is the team, where are my goals? Where are my goals? It's Marmouche, and that's lovely. I'll have a look at Spartacus. Oh, yeah, yes. I don't have an XG thing, Spartacus, in answer to your question. I don't. Sorry, I forgot to reply to you. I don't like this as a concept. What do you guys think the team should be? Because again, I don't know. I feel like maybe Doku might need to make way. I think Savio should stay on the pitch. I guess a lot of it depends on how do you think United are going to set up. Now, United tends to leave a lot of spaces at the back. Even though they defend with a back 5, there's still a lot of space there to exploit. So I wonder if you even need to start Doku from the off in terms of his low block destroying. I'd err on the side of no. Doku can score, he just sucks at getting himself into a position to score, says Uzi. He does need to improve. You know that little shimmy he does where he gets to a great position on the edge of the box, but then he just like skies it. He needs to do like, you know what Sterling did against Southampton that one time in the Centurion season. I want that from my Doku. Yeah, I struggle. I struggle to see where the goals are coming from. I play Bob and Savio. Surely it's too early to be starting Bob, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Spartacus. There's still space to exploit. There is still space to exploit. We're so open at the back. It's crazy they'll be taking advantage of that. So therefore, we don't think they're going to be setting up low block where there's loads of space to attack. In which case, it probably does make sense to not start Doku then, if that's the thought process. I would be very concerned if Foden didn't start. Again, he always does seem to play well against United as well. I feel like I'm missing a player. I am. Question is, do you start Kevin? Do you start Kevin and like go for it? That'd be great, Spartacus. What do you do? What do you actually do? Is my question to you. I'm not sure. This isn't very helpful or interesting, is it? Because I actually don't know what we should do. Trying to think. I really think Savio should start. Because because it would go into like this sort of thing. Yeah. Because Savio was like false wingering it up against oh my god, false 9. It would probably involve dropping Kevin though, would it? What if Nico pushed up? Oh my god, hello, am I cooking? Probably not. No, probably not, to be honest. Oh my god, I might be. Hello? Am I cooking, guys? As the kids say? What have we got here? Oh my god, yeah, outside of the block, passing from Kevin. Oh, hello. Oh, I've just cracked Enigma. I've cracked Enigma. Boom. Look at that. I don't think this... No, let's not do this. That's a bad team. That's a bad team. Let's not do that. I'm just trying to... I don't know what I'm trying to do here. my thought process, guys, is here's what I'm trying to create, yeah? Here's what I'm trying to create. Overcooked Control C. If we want to get the best out of Marmouche, this is how it needs to be done. You probably need to start a false 9 to get the best out of Marmouche. Because he can't play as a 9 on his own. In an ideal world. We know it's not his best position. But you don't want to get rid of that the lovely link-up work that he's got with Marmouche. So I'm sort of thinking Foden as the false 9. You say that, Uzi, but Savio did this against Leicester, did he not? Am I being stupid? Nunes pushed up, and Savio went very central, right? No? Is that not what happened? Hello? I'm thinking, make the runs off the false 9, yeah? Bish, bash, bosh. It should go. It's got to happen, I'm afraid. Right here, again, I don't want to sacrifice Foden by playing at false 9, but I'm thinking about it from the thought process of who is most likely to score a goal tomorrow. I think we can all agree it's Marmouche. Yeah? Therefore, I'm thinking, how can we maximize Marmouche? You don't play him as a 9 to maximize him. You give him someone to bounce off. And someone who we can run behind on. And play as a second striker. And I think in the absence of Haaland, the way to do that is to play a false 9. So that's what I'm thinking. Yeah? Sacrifice Foden. It's a shame Bob's not here, because you could play Bob as the false 9 in fairness. Sacrifice Foden. Play him as the false 9. Maximise Marmouche. Give him that link up with Savio. Allow the runs in behind that false 9. False winger situation with Nunes and Nico. I don't know if... My brain's frying. Where did Nico play in possession against Leicester? My mind has fried. Where did Nico play in possession against Leicester, guys? Let me know. My brain can't actually recall that. For some reason. I don't know why. Just can't. I've forgotten. Someone confirm. Let me know. Did he push to the left? Did he stay centrally? Can't recall. He plays a midfielder. Okay, that sort of scuppers my plans then, doesn't it? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense, to be honest with you. Yeah, so this team's a load of bullshit then. Right, that's annoying. How can I make that work then? It probably can't work, can it? I'd have to play Gavardia. I'd probably have to drop Nico O'Reilly, wouldn't I? Yeah. I'd have to do that, wouldn't I? You have to play a left back there, and then hope Kusanov is actually fit. But that's not ideal. In sum, I don't know what the answer is. This team's a bit stinky. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm overtired, guys. I think I need some sleep. I'll be real. I've not had a lot of sleep recently. Oh my god, Bernardo's gonna play, obviously. What am I doing? Obviously Bernardo's gonna play. Don't be a stupid idiot. If only we had, like, Cambiasso. You get me? Nico Roello's overlapping against Bournemouth. Yeah, fuck it, guys. Fuck it! Oh, God. You could also play Grealish as a false 9 if you'd like. I don't know if he's ever played that in his... Oh, he played that he played it, like, once or twice in the false 9 season, in fairness. But the best option there is Foden, for sure. I would not hate that team. I'll be so honest with you. I think that could actually be fun. Yeah, it's probably shit. It is probably shit, but I'm having fun, so don't worry about it. If you guys don't want to play Foden, then what would be the best play? Marmouche? Would you start Kevin? If you're dropping Philly, you're starting Kevin, guys? Or are you, like, impacting him? Let's be real, Bernardo's starting. We all know this. This is known. Bernardo is starting. the question just then becomes, where does he go in possession? And I think Savio must start. So what does that actually mean in practical terms? He'd have to push up there, right? Bernardo would drop into the centre. Nunes overlapping. Savio able to link up with Marmoush like that. Bish bash bosh. You probably have Gundogan slightly more advanced, therefore. Nico there, and that would allow you to play Doku. 2, 3, 5. That technically works. I would swap Lilo with Nobbins. What? Bernardo's the pure 9 to pass back in a one-on-one situation. I'm assuming that Gusanov's not fit anyway. Right back, Bernardo going to midfield when we have the ball. Nah, chill. It'll be Nunes right back, Bernardo right midfield, Savio is one of the two strikers. Chill on that. Gusanov was rested, no confirmed injury. Fairs. Well, let's get Kusanov in for Diaz then, I suppose, if we want to do that. I don't think that might be... Yeah, no, I want Ruben Diaz's leadership. That's not a bad team, is it? To be fair. You've got Nico inverting into the centre. You've got Nunes pushing up to right wing. Allowing Savio to go more centrally and link up with Marmoush. Gundogan's there. You know, he's chilling. Bernardo likewise. And you got Doku, who can vibe on the left. What do you guys reckon? I think I don't like either side. I'll be real with you. But, you know, I still think there is something in... I still think I want both Foden and Marmoush on the pitch. Just to have more goals in the side. I'm just concerned about the side from a goals perspective. I think we might need to rely on like Gundogan to be a box crashing threat. And does he have the legs for that? I'm not so certain. Or we need Savio to become good at finishing, and Doku as well. Vriss says no clue when we'll see it, but a Guardiola Stones Roll appearance or something would be a beauty. I don't know. Yeah, I know what you meant, Vriss, with Guardiola. How would you change the side, guys? Let me know. I think the fact that I've been rambling and having brain fog and farting is probably a good indication. I should probably wrap up the stream right now. Bless your hearts. There's still over 100 people watching on a random Saturday night when everyone else is streaming, so thank you guys for that. I do appreciate it. I accept it's prime time to be streaming, so thank you guys for choosing to spend it with me. LB said he was going live later today, and I said I would redirect to him, but he's not set a stream up, so maybe I'll be live for like another 10 minutes and see if he schedules one soon. In fact, I'll text him. Let me know if you plan to schedule one soon. Thumbs up. Praying thing. I wish McAtee would start. We can't have McAtee starting. Get Fernandinho and David Silva on the pitch. I was joking about the Kusanov injury. I have no clue if he is injured. Oh. I think this is the crux. And I think this massively informs the rest of the lineup. Does O'Reilly start? Because if he doesn't start, then that means Gvardiol almost definitely pushes to the left, and that introduces a whole different attacking dynamic. If he does start, then it means that Gvardiol goes to centre-back, and then all of a sudden that dynamic changes. Not saying it's for the better or worse, I'm just saying it does change. So that's the question for me. Do you start O'Reilly, yes or no? I think Nunes probably should start. Just because I think he should. So it's not like it introduces the idea of, oh, you could play Kusanov and Diaz and Gvardiol and O'Reilly. I don't think Kusanov should go to right back. I think that should be Nunes. Do you guys think O'Reilly should start? Because again, that massively informs the rest of the team. Spartacus says we can't play him away at Old Trafford. It's not fair. He did also... This is the thing you've got to bear in mind. There will probably be a lot of rotation as well. So again, I'd be shocked if Foden didn't start tomorrow. because he didn't play a minute. He didn't even come on against Leicester. So I'd be very surprised if he didn't start. Likewise, Bernardo didn't. I don't think he saw a minute, did he? Or certainly didn't start. I'd be very surprised if he didn't start tomorrow. Replace one of Bernardo or Gundo for Jack or Phil. Well, like that. I would love that. I can't lie. I would love Foden to be starting in that slightly deeper position, preferably on the left, but that would work from an off-ball perspective, It won't happen, but that could be fun. That's sort of what we tried to do against Real Madrid away. The issue was we had Kusanov at right back, so it didn't really work. It was the same idea, though. The idea was that Kusanov pushed up, in theory, to the right, and then Foden technically went inside, but also Savio technically was a central player with Marmoush as well. That's sort of what I've created here. The difference is we've actually got a more actual outlet on the right, and I've actually positioned him a little bit deeper. Yo, that actually cooks. I won't lie. That's actually really nice. I wouldn't mind that. It won't happen. I'd like that. An off-ball, Núñez right back, Foden right midfield, Savio's one of the off-ball strikers. Oh! That's fun. That's fun. I can't lie, won't lie. That is a fun time. You could, or if you did want them to play more advanced, I guess you could just do that. That probably makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? And then what would you do? You'd have Núñez and Savio on that right, Marmoush, Foden as the two strikers. Yeah, that works as well. Or you could do what we were talking about earlier. That works, doesn't it? That might be my favourite team, It still works. Off ball, you got Núñez. You got Núñez pushing to the right. Nico O'Reilly in the middle. That's a solid midfield three. Might prefer Cova over Gundo, but that's not an issue necessarily. You still got Doku and Savio in there. What's wrong with this team, guys? I'd rather Doku's striker and Savio wide. His tracking back is much better than Doku's. This has got Savio wide off ball. Guys, I think I've cooked. A 5-course scintillating dinner. Yeah? You can interchange these two if you'd like. It's probably better for Marmoush to play him there, though. That could be fun. And then off ball, it would be this. Oh, look at that. Oh. I have created magic, ladies and gentlemen. There's no Kevin, though. That's a shame. That was the other option, to be fair, as I say, Spartacus. You could have had Foden slightly deeper. And then bring on De Bruyne when we go 1-0 down to a shit counter-attack. Yeah? Oh my god. I like that team. I can't lie. I think I've done well there. Let me know, guys. Have I produced pink chicken? Or was that actually an interesting team? Let me know. See if LB's got back to me. Exactly, Uzi. That's me. Hey. Maybe that's why it's such a good team. I did prefer the one where Foden was deeper. I won't lie to you. I'll just go back to it one more time. Just what I would really like. Again, it won't happen. But what I would love is this. Given the players that we have. I'd love this. Again, I appreciate it won't happen. If Kusanov was available, even better. You guys are saying it wasn't confirmed as an injury, so I'm going to play with that. Bosh! Look at that! Look at that! Mmm! I don't care. That's hot. That's nice. That's fit. That's fit, that. Oh, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, Bernardo is starting. I did forget about that. I did forget about that. Boom. Sorted. Oh, dear. Right, guys. I'm overtired. I'm having too much fun with these lineups that are definitely not going to happen. Get my hopes up. Yeah, I'd love that. You guys know my thoughts on the whole Foden situation. I do think that this conversation of what is Foden's best position, I think it is largely moot because so long as you're platforming properly, you can succeed in whatever position you want him to do so. But if you do want to get him to his... It was overcooked. If you want him to get to his highest ceiling, in my view, what we're looking at is whatever you would say David Silva's position was, even what you might say Pedri's position is at Barca, slightly deeper. I think Everton away is the best example last season. There were a number of examples. West Ham on the last day of the season is another one where he was allowed to drop a little bit deeper, help with the build-up. For me, that's his final form. That is his best position. I would love to see that next season. In fact, that's what I would love. I would love it if we signed Wirtz, yeah, and promoted Mukasa, whatever, and we just like locked in this idea that we just play Foden as an 8. I would love that. I truly think that's his long-term ceiling position. We'll see what happens though. I accept, you know, physicality is not the best, but David Silva was 5'7". And yeah, I'm not saying Foden's as good as David Silva, but you get what I mean. It's not necessarily a roadblock, which means that it can never happen. And I know that Pedri's a couple inches taller than Foden as well, but he's not, you know what I mean? You don't have to be Yaya Toure or Jude Bellingham to be that sort of player. It can work. It's proven at City. It can work. Foden proved it last season. It can work. I'd just love to see it more. I'd love to see it more. I truly think the Foden deeper is his supreme position. You can do a job basically anywhere as long as you profile and platform him correctly. But there we go. I've been training for a long time. I'm trying to wait for LB to schedule one, but he's not done one. I would love to redirect you to him, but I can't. So I won't, because I physically can't do that. I apologize for that. Until next time, guys. Oh, speaking of Pedri, I just noticed that Saeed's doing a Barcelona watch-along. Do you guys... Should I redirect to Saeed? Should I redirect to Saeed? Because he's watching Pedri, and we just spoke about Pedri. Could be a nice little thing. Do you think we can convince Wirtz? No. Jude is just a Gallagher with hype, says Spartacus. Have you noticed we haven't conceded goals on the counter other than the Madrid game since Nico came into the side? We've been a lot better defensively. There's some great stats from John McKenzie about second ball winning. You guys know I love that shit. Echeverry and Wirtz can be our 10s next season. Foden Mikasa as the 8s. Oh, sorry, Ichigo. I thought you said he was a 10. Mikasa. My bad. Messi, says Junior. I'll be back tomorrow for the Manchester Derby watch-along. There will be a post-mortem, and hopefully I'll be able to sort out an analysis video as well. Please, Pep, give Echeverry some minutes so that I don't have to rewrite my Echeverry video and go back and rewrite it. Until then, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the show. Watch along tomorrow. Analysis videos to come. Apologies for the inconsistency. That's my bad. I'll be having a long chat with myself and trying to sort that out. Have a lovely evening, and I'll catch you all next time tomorrow for the Manchester Derby watch along. Goodbye, guys. Love you all.